Hey, what's going on, champs? I'm Aaron Deliosa. Welcome to an Immigrant's Life podcast, my podcast about immigrants and immigration and everything in between. Thank you for listening and downloading the show, and thank you for supporting my dad.
This coming Sunday is Mother's Day. So, I invited an amazing mommy to talk about parenting as an immigrant and everything else. But before we talk about the episode, as always, I'd like to thank you, Immigrant Nation, for joining us every week. Thank you for your unending support. For the ones who listens through Spotify, thank you for giving AIL a 5-star rating. For the ones who listens through Apple Podcasts, please do me a favor. If you could give us a 5-star rating and a short and sweet review, I'd much appreciate it. That also goes to the Spotify listeners that haven't given the podcast a 5-star rating. I ask this kindly as this is the best way to help the podcast effectively and for free. Again, I appreciate you and I love you. Of course, you can follow us and or contact us on our social media at An Immigrant's Life or email us at unimmigrant'slife@yahoo.com. House cleaning is done. Now, let's talk about the episode. As I mentioned at the top, this week's episode is a heartful and emotional conversation with an incredible mom that is like any loving mommies in the world, is doing her best to give her kids the most love and care she could give. Lastly, I also want to dedicate this episode to all the mothers in the world. May you be biological, adopted, step, or what have you. I want to say Happy Mother's Day and thank you for all the love and sacrifices that you do. And with that, without further ado, let's get into the show. Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Today's guest is a mother first and a blogger second. She's finding light between life chapters and countries, but really, her smile and personality are the light we all need. Everyone, please welcome Momo.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Actually, konnichiwa, Momo.
Oh, konnichiwa. That's so sweet. Yeah. I like that when people use, konnichiwa and then say hi, even in public. I think it's sweet.
First of all, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it.
Not a problem.
It took us a while, but here we are. We did it.
Yes, here we are. That's right.
So before we move on, if you want to promote anything, Mo, go ahead.
Well, I'm mainly on Instagram and I just published my own website. They're both called Light Between the Lines. And I just share my life as a mom and an immigrant mom here in the States and what I use, what I do, and how I do it to share my culture with my children because we don't get to go to Japan and see, my side of the family very often. So I've been working on that here and I just started to share that so that, hopefully other moms like Japanese American moms or other parents, I guess, in general, maybe they can do the same to share the culture or, language with their family as well. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah. It's a great site, a great page for moms and even dads or just people that wants to learn things, especially Japanese culture. I love your website. It's like,
oh, thank you so much.
It's beautiful. It's well designed. It's so easy to look at. Everything is beautiful. The picture is beautiful. The design is beautiful.
Oh, you are so kind. You're too sweet. Thank you.
No, it's true. It's just like it's clean, because sometimes I go to some people's website and I'm like, what is this garbage? Like, I don't know where to go.
Sometimes it's just a lot and can be overwhelming. I wanted to make sure that anyone can come to, my website and find whatever they're looking for. It was important to me when I was creating my website that it was very clean and simple to look at.
So
because
Japanese.
I can feel overwhelmed. Yeah, probably.
We'll talk more about Light Between the Lines later. But before, let's start by finding out where did Momo's light first lit up.
Oh, interesting. Well, I think it really started, like when I had my first child. And it was at the beginning, it didn't come. I don't know if I should say it didn't come natural to me, or it wasn't my priority. I feel like back when I had my first child, I was just trying to survive as a first time mom, and I didn't have family members around. So really, I was just trying to just get through the day and trying to keep my baby alive and trying to, take it one day at a time. But then I started celebrating little holidays here and there, Japanese holidays here and there with my child, because that's how I grew up, and that part came natural to me. So I think the very first holiday I celebrate with my oldest child was probably the Japanese Girls' Day, to celebrate their health and wellness in the future and their lifelong happiness, because I grew up with two sisters, so my family was just girl family, and
No
my
boys?
mom, no boys at all.
Oh, poor dad.
I know. My dad actually, when I was in high school, he got a boy dog because he was like, we need a boy in our family.
Poor dad.
I know, poor dad. But I mean, the dog joined the family. So
That's funny. You
yeah.
mentioned Japan. Did you grow up in Japan?
Yes. So I was born and raised in Japan, and I left Japan when I was 21, I think, and it's been about 11 years since I moved to the States from Japan.
Did you live in a rural area or in the city?
I would say rural area. I'm from South, so
Okay.
I've actually never been to Tokyo outside of the airport. I know.
Wow. Isn't that crazy that we live in a country and
Yes.
we've never been to places there,
Yeah. Yeah, I totally skipped that part.
Well, May, I hope someday you'll come back and visit it.
Yes, someday. Yeah. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure, especially with the kids,
Yes.
How was your childhood like in a small town Japan?
It was great. It was not too busy, but if you hop on a train or get on a bus for like 20 minutes, then I had access to a bigger city, so I was able to go shopping or go to school in more city side, I guess. But growing up in a little bit more rural area, I loved just going to park with my friends, growing up after school. And back in the day, I mean, kids didn't have a cell phone or anything. And then my parents had, my parents didn't have to know everything. So we would just leave school and walk home. And on the way home, just, stop by the park and spend an hour there and and just go home for dinner, I guess.
Did you get a lot in trouble?
No, I didn't.
No, you're sneaky.
I mean, it was just a park, but at the same time, I was the youngest in the family, so kind of like, she'll come home whenever she comes home, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not so much,
Yeah.
watching involved.
Because mom and dad are so tired of telling the other kids what to do. And like this one, what? She wants to play with the knife. Go play with the knife, but you gotta be outside.
Yeah. And I kind of understand that now that I have, more than one kid.
Isn't
I'm like,
it?
oh, okay. I kind of get it now.
Remember when our parents was like, hey, someday you're gonna have a kid, this is what's gonna happen. You'd be like, yeah, sure, mom and dad.
Yeah, sure.
You are old, no one cares about you. And then now we're parents and we're like, those bastards knows.
Yes. For sure.
It's funny.
It's so funny.
So you decided to move to America for what reason?
Originally, I came here with a student visa, so I really wanted to go to college here. So that was the main reason why I originally came here.
Why America?
You know what? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I did have friends who came here and went to college. And I think they were maybe a year or two older than me, and we went to the same college. And so I had that example. And I think that's why. Like, I didn't really look to go to another country. It was like, oh, well, they went to America. Oh, I guess that's an option. I guess I could try.
It's always like that, you know? It's like, well, they went and they're not dead, so most likely I'm going to go there.
Yeah, most likely. I'll probably survive.
But you know what's the best is, you know that, of course, you followed your friends, right? But there's someone in your friend group that went first. That's the guy or that's the woman that, like,
Yeah.
as they say, got the balls to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But me, I'm just like, you just follow.
Yeah. It was a very big inspiration.
Was it hard for you to move to America?
Was it hard?
Yeah. In a sense of like document wise.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't remember having a huge trouble getting a student visa. I mean, it took a little while, but nothing too crazy. Just, the paperwork that are required and, some fees and all that. Yeah.
Everybody loves Japanese,
I was blessed, I guess.
You know what I mean? So which part of America did you decide to go, or you just want to follow your friends?
Well, take a little bit of both, I guess. I followed my friend, but I also knew some people here in the state of Utah already. So this is where I came originally, and I went to English school and I learned how to speak English because back then I couldn't speak English at all.
What's funny is because I'm from the Philippines and English is like the second language, right?
Oh.
So we don't have to really learn English. We kind of have it already. And how was your English then from 0 to 10?
It was so hard. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, people don't believe me now if I say like, oh, I couldn't speak English when I moved here. And they're like, oh, sure, yeah, you're just being humble. And I'm not joking when I say I couldn't speak English. Like I was able to read and write. Because that's what I learned. So I had those basic knowledge, I guess, when it comes to English, but speaking and understanding what other people are actually saying in a conversation, that was totally different than just reading my textbook, So it was really, really hard at the beginning. I had a really hard time.
I can imagine. They should have that. Like, when you go to an English school, they'll teach you like proper text English. They should have like on the side, like someone like me that comes in, like talks like me, like, hey guy, what's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you moved to Utah. First you were learning English. How long did it take you to learn English?
Well, how long? I mean, I can't remember when I actually felt comfortable talking. I was probably the past couple of years, probably, but when I actually was, able to speak and have a conversation with native people, probably a year after I moved.
That's not bad. From 0, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 0 speaking skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad for a year and you become comfortable.
Yeah.
Did you study in Utah?
I went to college outside of Utah. So I moved. Yeah, I went to English school here and then I moved and went to college somewhere else.
I know you went to Iowa.
Iowa? No.
Yeah. No, Idaho, sorry.
Yeah, Idaho, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I mixed them up.
That's okay.
I'm not from the States, so for me, they're all the same.
That's okay. I know.
And you studied nursing there?
Yes, nursing. And yeah, that was actually something I learned in Japan as well. So I was going to nursing school in Japan because becoming a nurse was my big dream, I guess. So that's what I did in Japan. And I moved here and I got into school and took all the, prerequisite and some basic, something 101, those classes. And then, yeah.
Were you practicing nursing or were you just going to school in nursing in Japan?
I was still a student. Yeah.
Okay. And then suddenly you're like, what? I'm moving to the States.
There were a lot that happened, but yeah.
How do you find life in America then? Without the proper way of speaking and the way of communicating, that must be.
Yeah.
extremely hard.
It was, yeah. So I felt like I had to just learn to adjust to the culture and learn the culture while still learning how to speak and communicate and convey my thoughts and, tell the other people what I'm thinking. So it was definitely a lot at the beginning, and I don't know how I survived. To be honest, I was just trying my best every day.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do, absolutely.
Was there a person that was most helpful to you when you were getting settled?
Um, like friends I had at the English school, um, I feel like we were able to bond over some challenges we were going through. We were there in the States for the first time and learning how to speak and communicate. And when I went to college, my roommates were big, good, great influence, I guess. And they helped me, learn English, but also the culture and other things.
Were
as
they
well.
Americans, your friends there?
Mostly, yeah.
That really helps.
It did, yeah.
I read that when you moved to America, you were just learning English and you were supporting yourself financially while trying to go through university to be a nurse. That must have been very difficult. What possessed you to do this thing?
Well, I was very stubborn. Once I decided to do something, I can't, give up until you finish it. And that's how I was back then. And I was trying to, prove my parents that I wasn't here to party and, do crazy things like my parents thought that I would be doing. I wanted to let them know, hey, I didn't come here just to throw my life away. And I came here for a purpose. I came here to go through college and learn and build my life here. So I think that was another motivation. Like I wanted to make sure that my parents know that I'm working hard here. And I think my parents, the way they saw me changed after I got into nursing school, and they were like, "Oh, okay." I mean, I don't know if it's Asian parenting, but they were like, "Oh, okay. Well, you are doing what you said that you're gonna do." So okay.
I mean, you're not a doctor, but you're getting
Right.
there.
Something like that.
Oh my God, that's
But,
funny.
yeah.
So, when you were going through university, that must be like super stressful because you don't speak proper English. And of course, the school is so different, the way they learn. What kept you going? Other than your stubbornness. That's
Other than my stubbornness. I know. Very strong determination to accomplish what I already wanted to and came here for, I guess. I'm very goal oriented, and I, write things down. And back then, just finishing the school and learning what I wanted to learn was very, very important to me. I mean, I didn't have a plan to get married or become a mom or anything like that back then. I really wanted to just accomplish my goal and I wanted to be out there and do what I love to do. So yeah, but it was hard. I remember just trying to survive college time. It was a little bit learning, and I had to support myself financially too. So
you were working too?
Yeah, but when you are here with a student visa, you're not allowed to work outside of campus. So you have to get a job on campus, which is a lot of time, custodial job or some not a lot of times like the very first job, like easy to get one was, cleaning custodial job, and then maybe move on to some like office job or something.
What kind of job did you get?
The first time was custodial job. So I will be just cleaning from 4 a.m. to 7 and then go straight to my first class in the morning. Yeah, my roommates thought I was crazy, but I just had to do what I had to do to survive.
Mom and dad wasn't sending you money?
Not enough that I was able to survive, I guess. I can't remember exactly when they offered the help. I think it was after I got into nursing school again. But yeah, I remember I just had, I had to pay for my tuition and my living expenses. And so,
In Japan, because the culture here in North America, the parents
mhm.
will save money and then pay for the college for the kids. Is that the
Mm.
same case in Japan, or is just like do whatever you need to do?
You know what? I don't know about everyone or general. So I can't say I think this is the most common way, but I do know that when I was going to college in Japan, I got a scholarship. But it wasn't based on it wasn't an academic scholarship or based on grades or anything like that. It was something I applied before I graduated from high school. So I'm guessing it was from either the country or the where I was from or something. I'm not quite sure. But so I did get a scholarship, and that will cover tuition and monthly expenses. But then after you graduate, you have to start. So like a student loan, I guess,
Okay.
that we get here too. Yeah, I think that's very common.
But with your friends and people that were they being supported by their parents or?
Um, I guess I think a lot of the times parents do support,
Okay.
children go to college. Yeah, and the student loans is big.
Sorry for swiveling back and forth, but
That's okay.
I want to know, how did you break it with your parents saying, "Yo, I'm moving to the States," and how did they take it?
Well, they didn't take it very well, that's for sure. But it was also a big news, I mean, I don't think they expected me to say, "Hey, yo, I'm leaving." um, but yeah, it wasn't easy for them at the beginning. They didn't quite understand why I couldn't wait till I would graduate from the college I was going to first in Japan, and so I tried my best to talk to them about my plan. And again, I'm not trying to just leave everything behind and just go party in a different country or anything. I do have a plan. Here is what I'm trying to do. And yeah, it took them a while to come around.
And you had two siblings, you said. Did they stay in Japan
Yes.
too?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're the favorites?
You know what? They might be.
You're the black sheep.
Yeah. True.
Did you finish nursing?
Yes, I did.
Wow, that's amazing. But then you mentioned that you got married during college?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was it was interesting too. But I did finish the schooling after I had my second child. So I got my bachelor's degree while raising the first two.
Whoa.
So I remember that. I know I tend to just add a lot of things on my plate. I don't know.
I don't know. I guess you're a masochist. When you had your kid, how did you tell your parents?
Oh, I mean, I did tell them, after I got married. I mean, when I got married, I when I got engaged, I told my parents, and I mean, I told my mom first because that was a little bit more difficult to approach. Let's put it that way. So I told my mom first, and then mother is always a mother. They're just so I guess, supportive, and kind of, at least my mom was that way, even though she wasn't happy with some of my life choices up to that point. Yeah, she did come to the States, and we were able to celebrate and have a wedding. And then when I got pregnant, I did tell my mom first again. And I think by that time, I did have a communication with my parents. I was able to talk to them again. So I broke the news, and my oldest was their first grandchild. So I hope they were happy when I broke the news. But at the same time, again, I was still a student and had a lot going on. So I don't know, I guess I like to keep them on toes.
Exactly. Well, you're the youngest. That's what we do. I am the youngest too.
Yeah.
So you guys stayed in Idaho. When did you guys move to Utah?
When my husband got first job out of college.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting because it wasn't our plan to move to Utah. But yeah, I think that's when a lot of IT businesses were starting to, get big here.
Mhm.
And he was able to find a job. So
Your husband, he's a white dude, no?
yeah. Yes.
How did your parents take that? Was that, Asian people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I was nervous, but I mean, my mom did, meet my husband when we got married, but my dad didn't meet him until we went back to Japan with our kids.
Oh, he didn't come to the wedding?
No. So when my husband said nice to meet you to my mom, my dad in person for the first time, it was, already us and two kids. So
Yeah, he kind of have no choice.
hey, yeah. True. Yeah.
Do they get along? Your dad and your husband?
I would say so. Yeah.
Most of the time?
Most of the time. I mean, my dad wasn't upset or anything. He was, just happy to have us there. And I think he was really happy to meet the grandchildren. So, yeah. I mean, who can be mad at littles, right?
Oh, no. That's the key. I always tell people that, like, right now they hate you, but produce something and that's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
They see that cutie thing and that's it. Game over.
Yeah.
Do you find it struggle to be married with a person that is not ethnically same as you?
I mean, there are, some things that we need to discuss and make sure we're on the same page. But I think, and this applies for any marriage, I think, or partnerships, relationships. But when both parties have, respects for each other and each other's cultures, I think that's important, to try and have us on the same page. But we have gone through some challenges, some culture differences, and yeah.
And you consolidate those differences by communicating?
Yes. By talking about it, trying to, explain my side of the story, and he needs to have he needs to be open-minded as well to try and understand.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in a mixed relationship too. My wife is Irish Sicilian, so yes, we get along so well, we communicate, but there's always going to be that that culture difference, you know what I mean? Like it's depend like if you speak to a Japanese person, it's just like smooth. You know what I mean? You have references, you have jokes, and they'll just get it.
Right.
But if you have this, you have to communicate it with your partner, and they'll be like, that doesn't even make sense, or it's not even funny.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm with my family, and sometimes my family makes a joke, and I have to translate it, and I know I won't be able to translate it, not because I'm not capable of it, just like it wouldn't make sense. I'll just say,
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
I'll just like, it's a Filipino joke.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah.
Having said that, do you feel that your partner wouldn't be able to know you 100% because of that?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure if I would say that he wouldn't know me 100% because I feel like, who I was when I was in Japan and who I have become here in the States. It's just a mixture of everything, So I feel like I'm still learning about myself, and I'm still learning about the person I would like to become after learning about, different cultures, and um, even comparing to myself a couple of years ago, I feel like I'm just a completely different person. So I guess it's just always a learning, just learn about each other. So
Definitely, definitely. I love that. Because we changes. Because I know there's
yeah.
I don't know if it's a Japanese saying, but I know it's from Japan that they say that humans or people have wears three masks. One is for the one that you put the mask that you wear when you go outside socially. One is for your loved ones, and one is for you. Have
Interesting.
you heard of that?
No, I
Yeah, I
haven't.
believe it's a Japanese
Okay.
philosophy. Yeah, that which
Mm.
is, to be honest, it makes sense. You know, there's some things that you don't really tell to no one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you're always just evolving, I guess, and changing into just different person. I mean, may not be like you're changing to different person, but you're constantly learning about something new, even about yourself. And I think that's also a fun part of your life. You are always constantly um, and you get to be somebody you would like, maybe even in the future, by learning new things and learning about yourself. Okay, like what are the values, some that I want to maintain in my life, and then what are some things that I would like to change in my life, what are something that I would like to accomplish in 3 years from now. And you just get to be, continuously get to be somebody that um, you just strive to be.
Yeah, learning and evolving. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
When you went to the States,
Mm-hmm.
you're Japanese, obviously, but then
Mm-hmm.
now you're trying to learn becoming an American girl. Did it create confusion?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely did, for sure. Um, last year on the social media, May is Asian American Pacific Islander um, API Heritage Month. So I shared a little bit of a story about how I struggled to, navigate my life here in the States, trying to adjust to the culture and almost losing a part of myself because I was trying so hard to just um, I was trying to be somebody that other people or people here in the States would take seriously, I guess, because it's hard to, feel like you can't even communicate your thoughts and share a part of yourself with other people when you are having a hard time even speaking your mind in the language that you're learning. So, learning the language and also adjusting to the culture that was completely different from what I grew up with, and just trying to be somebody who can fit in, I guess, in the mold. Um, in the process of that, I definitely lost a part of myself, and then I realized, wait, I am completely different from who I thought I was a couple of years ago, or even in Japan. Okay, like then like who am I, I definitely had that time. I thought, oh wait, like I don't feel like I'm Japanese enough, but I will never be American enough. And I had to definitely find my identity, and losing a part of myself, or at least feeling that way, was very difficult for me. But after having my kids and slowly, starting to share the culture with them, some celebration with them, um, I started to find that part of me that I felt like I lost years ago. Um, I felt like through motherhood, I was able to find that part again. And then I started to kind of solidify what I believed that who I was, and then become who I always wanted to be. So I'm already, obviously still work in progress, but I feel like motherhood was really important for me to have to just get what I lost but also create what I wanted to have in my life.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I clearly understand it too. Like, same as me. When I was younger, I was like, I didn't know what I was want to be. You know, I didn't know what I want to do. I want to do everything at once. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then when I had my first kid, it kind of like kicked in something inside me and gave me that goal that, yo, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Whatever else doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why you started Light Between the Lines.
Yes. Yes. Before that, before I became a mom, because I had a hard time, adjusting to the culture, trying to figure out who I was, I guess, in this new environment, and felt like I lost a little part of myself and feeling lost in between who I was and who I felt like I needed to be to survive in the environment. I feel like there was a time that I almost felt ashamed for what I knew who I was, or who I thought I was, or the culture I grew up in, because things were just completely different. For example, when growing up in Japanese culture, I was always taught to not speak up when there's something happening in your community or your, friends group, and it was a common sense in the culture, to me at least, or where I grew up or how I was raised. You don't cause a scene. You don't, confront somebody. You just move on, and I was told to just, throw that under the rug and just move on and go with your life. But in the States, people are different. We are expected to speak up our mind and express our feelings, express our opinions, and that's very important. And it is an important skill, to be able to convey your thoughts and be able to communicate and just show where you stand. And it is very important, but I wasn't able to do that because of the culture I grew up with and what I was taught for a long time. So that was one of the biggest struggles that I had. And I almost felt like, well, why wasn't I taught that way? But it was just a different culture, So there are times I felt like, man, like it would have been so much easier or different if I wasn't raised that way. Or there were some times that I felt that way. But again, becoming a mom, it really taught me something that I really needed to learn for myself through the eyes of my children, and made me realize who I really wanted to be for them, not just for myself and how to survive here, but the values that I want to teach my children that obviously came from the Japanese culture. And it may not be the common or most popular thing, but still a beautiful thing to teach, or at least, let them know. I never force anything on my children, but to me, I feel like it's important to at least have that in our home environment, share the culture with them, because my children do have, big group of people and a family in Japan that love them so much. And I want to make sure when we bring them to Japan and go there and just go to places and actually enjoy the culture there, I want my children to feel like they are part of the culture, not like, oh, where am I? I have no idea where I am. So, yeah.
Yeah, because they look like Japanese, but when they get there, they're not Japanese really. They're Americans.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I know that they may not feel like, oh, this is, this is the part that I've been missing, or like, oh, I fit right in. It's probably not going to happen, right? I mean, they're not growing up there, and I know that, and they might go through some challenges that I may not have myself, but at least bring having that piece of the culture or the love from the family, and having that inside of our home, and just fully embracing our mixed cultures. I hope, through my motherhood, I have learned a lot about myself and realized it really helped me realize who I really want to be for myself and my family. But also, I hope it's helping them feel like they're part of that culture as well.
Did you always wanted to be a mom?
No, I never thought that I would become a mom. Yeah. So life is interesting.
So when it happened, how did you approach it? How did you take it?
It's been a journey. I think, I mean, of course, I had this undescribable love for my child when I had my oldest, and when I became a mom for the first time, but also I was struggling to survive the first time mom environment and just the life, I guess. All of a sudden you are responsible for this human, her life, and like you have to make sure they're surviving. Also, we gotta make sure that everything is good, it's safe. And I experienced a lot of anxiety back then as well. It was just, I don't know, first time mom thing, or not having a huge, support system, I guess. So it was a struggle. And then on top of that, I never expected that I would be a mom someday. So like, it was just a lot of mixed emotions, anxiety and worries, and also the type of love I had never felt before. And the joy and the happiness, but at the same time, a little confusion and all that in just one day. I feel like, and I feel like I needed to just navigate the craziness day by day.
Of course. I know you mentioned that you didn't really have a support, but I'm sure there's at least one person that kind of helped you and guide you to be, I don't know, a better mom, I guess.
Yeah. I did have, some friends. I mean, I was a very younger mom, but I did have some friends who were already a mom. And it was incredible to have them have them share their experiences with me, so that I just felt like I wasn't alone. And I really believe that something got me through the hard days. I would just talk to my friends, and my kids haven't, I don't know, she's been constipated, or she's been having this rash, like, is it okay? And of course there, sometimes I had to call the nurse or pediatrician and ask for advice. But those the mom thing, the stories that we share, and like, oh yeah, like our kids had that when they were your kids' age, and it's gonna be okay. They will, use this cream that will help for the diaper rash or stuff like that, and just hearing those experiences and knowing, oh, okay, this is normal, or oh, okay, like I'm not completely alone in this journey. That was something that always helped me get through tough days as a mom.
Is there anything you wish you understood about child rearing at the beginning?
That it's always going to be just you learning by making mistakes or figuring things out as you go, because that was something that was kind of new to me. I guess, I mean, coming to the States and trying to navigate my life here, I had to just make mistakes and learn and all that. But like, becoming a mom and being responsible for this human being is is another story. And I'm a planner. I like to plan things. I like to do researches and make sure that what I'm doing is backed up with some facts or whatever. So like, being a mom and just, facing this unknown head on was something kind of new to me. And I wish I have known, hey, you will figure it out at the end. But the journey is just going to be a lot of ups and downs, and trying, like, you will make mistakes, but it's going to be okay at the end. You will learn. And then you will have a second child and you are like, oh, okay.
I got this.
I got this. All right, I've done this once. I can do it.
For sure. I felt the same thing, like,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know, if they have a funny cough and you're like, my God, do I have to bring him to the hospital? And then you're like, no, the nurse will be like, no, you're good. You'll be fine. Like, no, he sounds like he's gonna die.
Yeah, just a little cough or a little fever, but you never know when you're just going through it for the first time as a parent, and it can be really scary. For sure.
For sure. What's the hardest thing about raising children?
Oh, not knowing whether you're doing it enough or not.
Or you're doing it right.
Right, doing it right or doing it enough, or what am I doing? I guess. Yeah,
I completely agree, because sometimes, like you said earlier, that you don't really force anything to your children, and then you see other people, let's say successful people, they'll say, well, if my dad didn't tell me about piano, I would have never played piano. I'm like,
yeah.
wait, I'm not doing that. What? You know what I mean? That's the most stressful thing for me. How about you?
Yeah. So when I first had my first child, I didn't have a lot of Japanese mom friends or Japanese friends back then. And then after I had a second and third, that's when I really started meeting, Japanese families here around in Utah, and became a part of the community. And then I still remember the shock that I felt when I went to the first play date, I guess, with some Japanese moms or other families. And so their kids just speak in Japanese perfectly. And back then I was like, I don't even speak Japanese to my kids. So I was like, oh my gosh, is this normal? Am I just completely failing? So sometimes just, comparison can be our enemy. But at the same time, it's just you're doing your best,
Exactly.
You have your unique family. And I've had to learn that it's okay to just have your own, family stuff, and what you're doing is enough. It's okay.
Yeah, I didn't agree with the books of like, oh, at a certain, let's say, at 9 months, they should be walking or whatever they're supposed to be doing. I
Right.
hated that. I hated that
Yeah.
idea. Like, no, not everyone's the same, dude. I remember my eldest, he was going to daycare and they were like, oh, we need to potty train him. I'm like, nope, let him be. I'm paying you to change his diaper because he's not ready yet. And it was a struggle. And I remember, it was, my wife is like, oh, we should teach him now. I'm like, yo, trust me, he's not ready. He's a boy. When he's ready, he'll just whip it out and he's ready.
Here we go.
You know what I mean? And I always remember, I taught him a day, like one conversation I taught him. I sat him down and I said, yo, you're a big boy? Yes. well, where does big boy go for when you go number one, number two in the washroom? Well, what's the problem here? And that day, he went, right?
Wow, that's so
That
impressive.
one day. And the thing was,
Yeah.
my wife was, she was on a trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then she came back.
Oh,
And then I said, yo, check this out. I'm like, what? Just wait. And then, like, it like on a cue, like in a few minutes, he went to the washroom, came out, and my
wow.
wife gave me the look. I'm like, yo, what's up?
I did that.
You know what I mean? Because I knew he
Yeah.
was ready. When
Mm-hmm.
they're ready, they're ready. I don't.
Yeah.
However, I only
Absolutely.
have boys. I don't know how
Mm.
daughters are. Thank God I don't have a daughter. My God.
They're interesting.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you then. Which ones are the hardest to raise? Daughters or boys?
Oh my goodness, I can't answer that. They are completely different. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
It was it was funny. So I had two girls first, and I thought that was done. I was happy being a girl mom. And like I said, I grew up with girls. That's what I was comfortable with. I like, I got this. I'm a girl mom through and through. And then our, little caboose joined the family, and we didn't find out the gender during our
Mm.
pregnancy. So we found out when he was born, and
Mm.
I had a feeling there was going to be a boy, trying to, prepare myself mentally for just this new adventure. But it was such a huge surprise. And then, like when he was a newborn, there's not much different. But then he turned 1.5, started showing more personalities, and he's into anything with wheels right now, so tracks and cars and everything. And the other day, he just grabbed two car toys and started banging each other, and I was like, "Why did you do that?"
I don't teach you violence.
No, but I mean, and like growing up, my daughters will always just hold the baby doll and carry it around and just love them. And the other day, my son was just sitting on the baby doll, banging the head with the toy, and I was like, this is new. This is a little different.
He's a boy. That's what they do.
I guess they're quite different, but they're both so fun. They're
Yeah,
wonderful.
I'm sure. I remember the joke from this comedian, and he says that boys will destroy your house, girls will destroy you inside
No,
emotionally.
ouch. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm sure your dad is happy that you have a boy.
I believe so.
You finally got it.
Yeah, finally. Yeah.
Have you thought of moving back to Japan with your family? Because I know some family does that.
Right. I mean, there's always a possibility, and I have thought about it, but that's not in our plan right now. And I can't really picture ourselves moving back to Japan, or moving to Japan, I guess, as a family. Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself from being a mother?
Oh, that's a deep question. That I can be. Oh, I need to compose myself.
Take your
I
time.
can be. I can be kind and loving, I guess. I was always just really, like I said, goal oriented, and I was very much a career oriented person. I had goals that I wanted to accomplish in my life, and those were big goals for myself. And becoming a mom kind of, not that I had to choose to become a stay-at-home mom, because I always had a choice to be, a working mom outside of the home as well. But right now, that's where I am. And at the beginning, it was a little bit difficult to shift my mind and think this is the most important thing to me in my life right now. raising the children. And of course, littles need, had a lot that need to be taken care of. And I wasn't sure I would be able to be a loving mom, I guess. And growing up, my family had a lot of issues as well. So that's kind of another reason why I didn't really see myself becoming a mom. But it was to this day, obviously, it's the biggest blessings I have in my life, my children and my family, and learning that I can be a loving mom. I can be kind and sweet to my little children. And that was something I learned.
That's beautiful. You good?
Yes. Yes.
Take your time.
Thank you. But it's amazing how, becoming a parent kind of opens up the door that you didn't even know you had. It's such a challenging journey too, but very, very rewarding for sure.
I completely agree. It's like you're trying to be a good example to these little things, these beautiful little things, and then of course you cannot tell them, by the way, this is right and wrong, and you're doing the same thing.
Right.
So now you have to adjust yourself and be a better. It's added pressure, you know.
Yeah, you can't fake it. The kids can see through it.
Like it always bothered me. Like growing up, I had like friends that their parents smoke cigarettes, and then the parents tell the kids like, "Hey, don't smoke cigarette." Like, what? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
However, I always say it's easy to be a mom and dad. It's easy. You just, do the thing and then baby will come out. Right? But it's extremely difficult to be a father and a mother. And the hardest part is caring. Once you care, that's when it becomes hard. If you don't care, it's so easy. Oh, you want to eat, I don't know, pancake at night? Go ahead.
Yeah.
But if you do care, then you'll say, hey, no pancakes. You have to eat vegetables or whatever you need to eat properly,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Do you discipline your kids, and what kind of discipline techniques do you use to them?
Wow. I try to, when they need to be disciplined, not just, just be a little bit quieter, or just don't run around, or not like that. But when they actually need to be disciplined, where there need to be lessons, I try my best to use a firm parent voice, but have a gentle approach, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not yelling, not telling them what they need to do. I try my best to listen first and make sure we have the eye contact and on the same eye level, and use a firm parent's voice, but still there's a softness and love in the voice as well. That's what I try to do when they need to be disciplined.
That's beautiful. Not me. I'm like, hey, get your stuff together.
There are times I need to do that too.
And then the wife comes in and she makes it mellow and makes it soft.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I'm the dad. I'm like, I challenge them. That's my job.
Yeah.
And the mom makes sure like felt like they're loved. Right?
Yeah.
What makes your mood lighter when everything seems not going well?
Oh. What makes my mood lighter? I like to just put everything aside, my phone away, any distraction, block everything, and just have like 10-15 minutes of playtime with my kids. That like if I'm having a hard time as a mom, or I guess having a hard time in general. They are always just so pure and just so joyful,
Mm.
and just be in that environment and no distraction, no phone, nothing at all. It's just me and the kids, and being able to be present in their lives tends to help. But if I really, really need to just to relax and distressed, and I like listen to quiet music, or do something that I enjoy for myself, I guess, like eat a little bit of chocolate or
A little
running
bit,
if I can.
a little bit.
Shh. We don't have to go there. We don't have to go there.
Just like a whole box.
Yeah, it can be.
So that's your me time.
I try to. I mean, man, having three kids. I mean, my oldest is in elementary school, so it's a little bit different now.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, my youngest is still one. So,
Mm.
having that little people just needing something from you all the time, it can be hard. I mean, they are the cutest little little human on planet, but still, man, parenthood can be really um exhausting at the end of the day, I guess. I think any parent can just use a little bit of me time to remember that you still are just your person. You are a person. Yes, you're a parent, but you have your identity. You are just you, and sometimes you need a reminder, and you do need to take care of yourself to be able to give yourself to the children.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful because I've seen parents that they revolve their lives around their kids. They don't find me times. And I recently heard the psychologist, I forgot his name. I'm not good with names. That is saying that those people that makes kids, they make those kids the revolves around their lives. Are those
Mm-hmm.
people they never felt real love when they were growing up. So the only way they could do it is to make babies and make that baby love them. Well, which they will anyway,
Mm,
and that's the only way they will feel love. That's why they are so focused on the kids that they forget about themselves.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's hard. Yeah, my
but
heart
it's
aches.
true. I've seen people like that. I'm not passing judgment, but there's people like every time you talk to them, they just talk about their kids. Like, bro, don't you like, I don't know, playing basketball or, I don't know, eating chocolate once in a while? I don't know. Like something for yourself.
Yeah, I've learned that, being a mom for the past numbers of years, I've learned that, um, of course, being a parent, being a mom, dad, and the kids, it's a huge part of your life. But having your own identity and knowing who you are, um, it's very important, especially when you are trying to make friends, or like you still need to be able to socialize,
Mm-hmm.
even after you become a parent. And it might be a little bit easier if you um, have a lot of opportunities to leave the house and meet other people. But when you have little kids, like especially when babies are newborns, and you're sleep deprived, and you can't even bring yourself to just put makeup on, get yourself together, and go outside because you would rather be sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. But there are times that I have seen some um, parents have had a really hard time um, making friends, and I think it's more common than we realize, maybe, because our sole focus becomes our children. It's on them, and of course it's important to take care of the children, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to remember us and ourselves, and knowing who we are is also important. Not it's I mean, it's easier said than done, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe taking a little bit of time to take care of yourself. And I think it's important to take care of yourself, but like I said, taking care of yourself is important because you will be able to have more energy or be able to be more present for your children as well. So you taking care of yourself is not only important for you, but also for your family as well, I feel like. And
Yeah.
I know that when I lack and I don't take care of myself enough, then I know that it affects my children. So
Because you're not
yeah,
happy. If you're not happy,
yeah.
you cannot show love. You cannot share love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you really just can't pour from an empty cup, you know. Yeah.
Beautiful. Ultimately, what is your hope for your children?
Oh, hope for my children know their value, know their worth, and um, know they're loved, and find what they love or they're passionate about, and be able to pursue when they grow up, and build their own life.
That's beautiful. You don't want them to be doctors?
No. It's funny. My parents never said, like you have to be a doctor, you have to be all that. I mean, I guess I don't know. Uh, I guess it's a little bit different than having immigrant parents or just, growing up in Japan. But I don't feel like my parents had this, huge expectation for me. Again, I'm the youngest, so I kind of grew up like me, whatever in that environment. But yeah, my parents, especially my mom, did say that her job is to raise an independent children who can be a good contributor for the society. So that's what something I was always taught, like you go to school, you learn, and find something that makes you happy, and just you gotta go for it.
Yeah. Just be a decent human being.
Decent human being. I mean, it's not what we are all trying to do. Trying to raise decent human beings.
Yeah, I tell them all the time, like, yo, I don't need you don't have to be a doctor or an engineer or whatever you want to
Yeah,
be. Just
but please be kind.
be a good person, bro.
Yeah, be a good person. Please be kind, and just help other people when you see somebody who is in need.
For sure.
Yeah.
Your kids and my kids, they're mixed kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most likely they will go through identity crisis, not just the normal way, but in a sense of like, oh, am I Japanese or am I American?
Right. Yeah.
What will you do to help them?
I'm sure they're gonna go through some challenges that I may not have gone through, or different kind of challenges when it comes to their identity and mixed cultures. But also I did go through the similar crisis when I came here, and I had to figure out who I was, and had to be really had to learn to find myself, but also be comfortable with myself and my identity in a mixed cultures. And I hope that, I will be able to help my children um, feel comfortable with who they are, and always be there for them, and let them know that they don't have to feel like they're Japanese enough or not enough or American or anything really. I would rather help them figure out who they are, who they want to become, and if the cultures are a part of them. And obviously, I would love to help them embrace that part, but and hopefully I'll be able to be there and help them focus on their personality while trying to embrace that mixed culture in our family.
Nice. Well said. I think we're getting there, but before we close out, I want to ask you one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for mommies that are going through the challenges that you have gone through, or even new mommies?
I think I speak for a lot of parents or moms, but you're doing enough, and you are enough. We always just question what we are doing, how we are raising our children, but really, if you are concerned about, whether your children are getting enough nutrition from the 3 meals that you made today, or
Mm-hmm.
like have enough clothes in a closet or anything like that. If you're concerned about your children's well-being, then you know that you love them. And as long as you know that, you have the love for your children and putting their needs um, and in trying to, just like we said, raise decent human beings, like you're obviously doing enough, no matter how they feel. Like that's something I think a lot of times parents do go through them. Like even with myself, a lot of times I feel like I'm not doing enough or being enough. I'm not being patient enough. I'm not being kind enough. Or, oh my goodness, I lost my temper today and I yelled at my kids, and it wasn't even noon. Like things like that happens, but just knowing that you are doing your best, and just you being there and loving your children is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wise word from a wise woman. Again,
Yeah.
Momo, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. It's been enjoyable.
No problem. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was so fun to chat with you.
Awesome. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Again, Momo, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, listeners, for listening. This is Aaron Deliosa for An Immigrant's Life. I'll see you guys later.